Everyone in the crowd, including the ref, all saw that hammer fist land on Garry's face, and we all saw his eyes roll to the back of his head. The ref even saw it. The ref got closer. He landed that hammer fist. The ref took 2 steps forward and was like almost ready to stop it. And then Prates just stopped. What's going on, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Hardcore and the Casual podcast. I'm your host, Justin, and as always, I am joined by our champion, Elijah. That had such a sour taste in my mouth saying that. But he is the champion. He did beat me in predictions 2 weeks ago, and he managed to do it again last week for Ian Garry versus Carlos Prates. How you feeling going into this coming week?
Feeling good. Definitely feeling good.
You feeling confident that you finally got your groove back?
Oh, I'm definitely gonna stay champion for a long while.
You know, you went like 25 weeks without winning the belt, and now you're on a two week streak now. So
2 week streak.
Hell yeah! Let's see if you could go a third. So today we are going to be reviewing Ian Garry versus Carlos Prates. We're going to go down the whole main card and basically review it. Then we are going to move over and predict for Sandhagen versus Davison Figueiredo. And we've got some predictions to do for boxing. All of that will come later in the episode. We are going to start off with our review of Ian Garry versus Carlos Prates, which almost gave me the biggest crash out of my life. But I broke my fingernail while I was crashing out, so it kind of calmed me down. It kind of gave me like a shock of reality while I was crashing out in the 5th round. And I broke my nail because this thing was set up, and I hit my nail on like the edge of this, like on some part of the metal, and I completely broke my fingernail, like the top part of my fingernail, crashing out. It was dripping blood, and I was screaming, knock him out, while I was bleeding, and I was just, my adrenaline was going. I almost passed out. It was bad, but Ian Garry got the win. I thought Prates was going to be able to knock him out. He almost did, but he wasn't able to get it done in time. What are your... I already know that you're not a big Fighting Nerds fan, so what are your opinions on this main event?
I thought it was a pretty good fight. I really didn't know what to expect from the Fighting Nerd, Carlos Prates, well, one of them. I heard he did have a good fight. I heard he kind of gassed out. He didn't have enough output in the rounds.
He didn't. I don't think he actually gassed out too much. He didn't have output for the first 3 rounds, but then it seemed like Ian Garry kind of gassed out, and then Prates started turning it up in the later rounds. So I don't know how someone who smokes apparently like a couple packs of cigarettes a day is able to have that much cardio, but man, I'll run down the street and I'll be winded, you know? Like I could go chase after my dog and I'll be dead on the street, but if Carlos Prates can smoke 2 packs of cigarettes a day and go fight for 5 rounds and win the 5th round, I mean, I got to start working out.
Yeah.
But we will come back to the main event. We are going to go down to the bottom of the card. A couple things that happened on the prelim. Matt Schnell beat Jimmy Flick. That was a fun fight. It was a sloppy fight between 2 veterans, and I enjoyed watching that fight. The rest of it was kind of boring. There were a lot of knockouts. Malcolm Wellmaker is someone who you want to look out for now. He knocked out Cameron Simon in like 2 minutes. He knocked him out in 2 minutes. So that's someone to look out for. Other than that, if you want to go back, there were a bunch of knockouts, bunch of submissions on the prelims. Main card kept going the same. Knockout. Akreem gets the knockout over Andre Muniz. Fairly quickly. It happened in the first round, and he basically just caught him with a left hook, and Andre just shut down. His brain just shut down. He fell to the ground, and he just got ground and pounded. How good is Robert Whittaker, man? Akreem seems like a world beater, and Robert Whittaker made him look silly. So Robert Whittaker is still one of those top-level guys. Akreem making his way back up. He'll get a top 15 fight soon. You know, he's good. He's good.
Who should Robert Whittaker fight? Is he?
Khalil Bahalyo. I think, would be the best fight to make with Robert Whittaker. But that's just me. Or Sean Strickland. I think Sean Strickland would be fun too, but Izzy's been calling for the Strickland fight. He wants the rematch with Sean Strickland.
That would be good.
That would be good. Moving up, Randy Brown versus Nicholas Dalby. We had a Max Holloway moment. They were trading in the center, and he basically knocked him out the same way Holloway knocked out Gaethje. It was almost the exact same punch, and it was beautiful. It was beautiful. Randy Brown deserves a top 15 opponent. I did think that he lost that fight to Brian Battle last time out. I know it was a boring fight, and Brian Battle didn't do much to win, but, I mean, if you judge it by the rules of MMA, Brian Battle won the fight. So I do think that Brian Battle probably deserves a top 15 fight more than Randy Brown.
Right.
But at the same, give them both, just both of them. Give both of them top 15 fights. This is the welterweight division. There's like 5 guys in the top 10 who just haven't fought anyone in over a year. So give them one of those guys, like there's Colby and Usman's finally fighting. But there's some guys like Jeff Neal who's going to need a new opponent soon after he comes back from injury. Even like someone who's not in the top 15 anymore, like RDA, would be a good fight. And I mean, if you can beat RDA, you're basically in the top 15. I mean, that's a former world champ. So, Randy Brown's really good. I think that he needs more work, but he does deserve a top 15 fight. And if he can win, he gets placed in it. And if he doesn't, then he needs more work. It's that simple. But Randy Brown's good. He's good. He knocked Nicholas Dalby. He knocked Nicholas Dalby's nose to his cheek. He pushed his nose from here, pushed it over here.
And I like Dalby. I like Dalby.
I do too. He's a fun fighter, but Randy Brown put him unconscious, dude. Next up was the weirdest fight of the night. The fight that I thought was going to be a knockout in the first round and ended up going to a boring-ass decision. Abus Magomedov versus Michel Pereira. Super boring. I know. These are two guys. I made a meme where it was like, the dragon meme where they like the cool dragons, the two cool dragons, and there's the one derpy dragon, and they're both looking at the derpy dragon. I made it. I made the meme. It was Michel Pereira's highlights is the one dragon, Abus's highlights are the other dragon, and then the actual fight is the derpy dragon.
Oh yeah, I knew what you're talking about. The 3-headed dragon.
Yeah. So I was like, and that worked perfectly for what it was. Abus and Michel Pereira have some of the best highlight reels in all of MMA, and yet somehow that was the most boring fight I've seen in a long time. Michel didn't do anything. That wasn't the same Michel Pereira. I think that after his last fight against Anthony Hernandez, I think that he's gun shy now. I think that he's not willing to push the pressure, thinking that he's gonna get taken down.
Yeah.
So I think he's a little gun shy now. I don't think that he went in there with the same mindset he normally does, which is go in there and knock the guy out in style. That's the mindset he always has come into. He landed like 2 punches in the first round. He just didn't do anything. And Abus fought to Michel Pereira's pace.
Right.
So Michel set the pace, and then Abus just barely kept a higher pace. He just barely beat him in every round. Just barely. Like, slim margins. Just able to land a couple more jabs, keep him off of him, and won the rounds. It was boring. Abus probably deserves a top 15 opponent, but, like, this was just such a boring fight. I had such high hopes. Huh?
Didn't Abus fight Sean Strickland?
Yeah, he got beat up. But he's got... I think Abus is good. I think that he does fight to people's pace.
Yeah.
Like, he'll fight at the rate the other person is fighting. So, it just ended up being a boring fight. I thought it was going to be good, but it wasn't. Next up, we've got Giga Kachaze, I can never pronounce that name right, versus David Onama. Another fight that I thought was going to be a knockout. Another fight that went to decision. David Onama, I think, won 2 out of 3 rounds. It was just a decision. I mean, there were some entertaining parts of the fight, but basically Onama just shot on him a bunch of times to try and break the pace.
Yeah.
And he won a decision by doing it. It was basically what Ian Garry did in the main event. Just keep on shooting until the guy is worn out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of a boring fight. David Onama, once again, probably deserves a top 15 opponent, even though it wasn't the most entertaining fight. I think that was a top 15 opponent. Giga was definitely in the top 15.
Yeah.
So David Onama is now in the top 15, 14-2. I don't know, man. It was kind of boring, but at the same time, Yeah, give him a top 15.
I had higher expectations for.
I had high expectations for both of those fights. They didn't turn out very well, but it's whatever. But now it's your favorite fighter. Time to talk about your favorite fight. Second favorite fighter behind Dominic Reyes, of course. Anthony Smith. Anthony Smith got beat up in the first round. He got finished. He cursed and flipped off a fan who, granted, was flipping him off too. The fan should have had more respect for Anthony Smith's retirement. But, I mean, that was a... Don't flip off fans in the crowd. Like, you just don't do that.
Yeah.
It's a bad look on you, especially in your retirement fight. Like, that's how you go out, is flipping off a fan. Like, come on, man. Show a little bit of restraint. The fans are there. They paid money to basically
give Anthony Smith
do whatever they want.
Fight.
What the hell are you talking? Why is it that your favorite fighters are all the guys that have fought John Jones, even though you love John Jones? It's like all the guys that have fought John Jones are your favorites as well as John Jones. It's just whoever's in the orbit of John Jones, except Tom Aspinall, is automatically your favorite fighter.
He might become my favorite fighter
if he knocks out Jones.
If he knocks out or loses, either one.
Dude, whatever. But yeah, I mean, Zhang Mingyang basically ripped him a new one. I mean, Anthony landed a couple good elbows, but then Zhang started landing good elbows too.
Yeah.
Cut him open on the top of his head. He was dripping blood into his face. And then he ended up on the ground, and Zhang was just hammer fist, elbow, hammer fist. Anthony Smith just couldn't get up. The ref gave him every opportunity to try and get up. He screamed at Anthony Smith probably 10 times to move. He said, "Move, Anthony. I don't want to finish it like this. Move, Anthony. You're going to make me stop this. Move, Anthony." And I was just like, dude, that's not your job. Your job is to stop the fight when you think it's over. It's not to yell at them. So I think it should have been stopped earlier. It was like an extra 10 seconds.
Retirement fight. I mean, look at
I get that.
Look at the whole Mark Goddard thing with the whole Izzy and Alex Pereira situation. It's like these are like the top guys, you know. People in the comments, they're quick to say, "Oh, early stoppage." You know what? If these are the guys, no, I'm gonna give it just a little bit more time, especially on your retirement fight. Come on, have a little more tenacity.
Yeah, but if you were watching it live, there was no Anthony Smith wasn't getting up. He was being held down and ground and pounded.
Be his coach.
Yeah, right. There were some refereeing malfunctions. Beltran twice touched a fighter too early to signify the end of the round, but the round hadn't ended yet. So he literally tapped on the fighters to stop fighting and then was like, "Oh, no, sorry, keep going." And this was in 2 different fights with the same ref. It was something weird, and like Beltran is like one of the most professional guys out there. Yeah. So I don't know what happened with that. Not going to assume anything. He probably just heard the clackers and he thought that was the bell or something. I don't know. That was the 10-second clacker, and then after that, he'd stop them. And it's like, you've been doing this for 20 years. You should know what the 10-second clapper sounds like. But, no, I that's whatever. I mean, everyone makes mistakes. Twice in one night is kind of crazy, but everyone makes mistakes. Yeah. And then something weird happened in the main event, too, with Ian Garry and Prates, where, like, in the 4th round, I think, the round ended 5 seconds early. Yeah. Like, the alarm went off 5 seconds too early. And I was like, what the hell was that about? But small things like that had happened throughout the night. Didn't really let it get to me. And then we got Ian Garry versus Carlos Prates, which I sat there thinking the entire first 3 rounds, what the hell are you doing, Prates? You haven't even tried to land a punch yet. Like, he literally just stood there and didn't try and do anything the whole first 3 rounds. He let Ian Garry just walked away with the first 3 rounds by just point fighting. And I was like, Carlos, you haven't moved forward an inch. And then, in the 4th round, he finally starts to push the pressure a little bit. And that's when Ian Garry starts shooting on him every 10 seconds. Every time Carlos Prates took 2 steps forward and throw a big hand, Ian Garry shot for a takedown. He only got a couple of them. Mainly, he got stuffed on most of them. Ended up on the bottom on some of his takedown attempts. But every time Prates moved forward, Ian Garry shot for a takedown. It was every time. He kept on just... Very good fight IQ. Very boring to watch. Which made it even more exciting when in the 5th round, Prates almost had him out of there. He was hammer fisting Ian Garry, and Ian Garry's eyes rolled to the back of the head. It looked like Ian Garry was out cold for at least 2 seconds. And then he came back to, and Prates just stopped hitting him. I was like, what are you doing? Keep going. Like, you're on top of him. Just keep on going. You could have the ref stop this right now if you just keep going. And then he didn't. He just stopped fighting. He just stared at Ian Garry, pushed him on the ground, let him up, pushed him up. It was like, dude, you almost had it, and you just let it slip. Like, what is this, an Eminem song?
Kind of like when Leon Edwards could have finished Bilal with the elbows, but he just...
Exactly. He just stopped. It was almost the same thing. Like, Leon was landing those elbows, and then he just stopped.
Like, why?
Like why not just... Even if Bilal manages to get back up, there's 10 seconds left in the round.
Yeah.
What are you afraid of? Him taking you down again for 1 second? Like,
I mean, you're already on the ground.
You're already on the ground. Just keep on going, and if he reverses it, oh well, then you were going to lose the fight either way. At least if you keep going, you're giving yourself a shot to win.
Yeah.
And that was the thing with Prates, is he had a chance to win, and he didn't take it. He literally let it slip through his fingers. Because everyone in the crowd, including the ref, all saw that hammer fist land on Garry's face, and we all saw his eyes roll to the back of his head. The ref even saw it. The ref got closer. He landed that hammer fist. The ref took 2 steps forward and was like almost ready to stop it. And then Prates just stopped. It's whatever. The Fighting Nerds finally take their first loss in the UFC. Well, the male Fighting Nerds. I know Bruno Brazil, sadly, but out of the male Fighting Nerds, Carlos Prates is the first one to take a loss in the UFC. I don't think this stops the hype train of the Fighting Nerds. I think that Prates can put himself right back in that title contention picture.
I mean, Islam lost one time in the UFC, and now he's the dominant champ.
Exactly, and I think that Prates has a lot of work to do, especially with his game planning. I think that his skills are good on the ground and on the feet. I think that he needs to just work on his game plan a little better. I think that was his number one flaw, was he let off the first 3 rounds, and then he only started turning it up in the last 2. That's not a good strategy. Like, that's a terrible strategy, especially when you have never been out of a 3rd round in your UFC career. Like, he had only ever been 2 rounds and then knocked the guy out.
Yeah.
So why would you wait longer, you know? He should have went earlier, but that was basically it for Garry versus Prates. There's not much else to talk about. Ian Garry calling for a title shot. That's stupid. You already lost to Rakhmonov. No, it's dumb. Sean Brady just beat Leon Edwards. Rakhmonov just beat Ian Garry. Like, Sean Brady should be next up.
Sean Brady versus Ian Garry.
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, Sean Brady versus Ian Garry, and then give Rakhmonov the title fight. It also makes things really weird. If JDM beats Bilal, then Islam is going to move up too. So you've got that title scene packed in there. You've got Rakhmonov, you've got Garry, you've got Sean Brady, you've got the winner of Usman versus Buckley, who's going to call for a title fight, whoever wins that fight. Then you've got Islam, you've got Bilal, you've got JDM.
Wasn't Usman gonna fight Jack Maddalena? So it was always
but now it's Usman versus Buckley. So you have 8 guys in the top 10 that all deserve a title fight. You know, so it gets real complicated at welterweight right now. I think the guy that deserves it the most is Rakhmonov. I think he's been sitting out the most. I think that Sean Brady has the second most deserving case. And
I
then
think Rakhmonov's gonna win.
And then I think Islam just skips the line no matter what.
Yeah.
Like, when Islam is ready to move up, he could just skip the line. I think he's done enough. I don't think Ilia Topuria has done enough to skip the line, but I do think Islam has done enough to skip the line.
Ilia Topuria can only skip the line because pretty much most of the lightweight division is just old.
Yeah, but you have a fairly similar case in lightweight. You've got Oliveira, you've got Arman, you've got Ilya, you've got Gaethje, you've got the winner of Poirier versus Max. If Max wins, I know Poirier is going to retire either way, but
what? Oliveira's already lost. I mean, Gaethje. I mean, Islam's going to beat Gaethje. I mean, who else? Who else is there?
Well, still, I'm just saying there are guys in that division that can call for a title fight, and it's not like we look at them like, even Patty now. I know that Patty needs one more fight, but like, there are guys in that division that already deserve title fights that haven't gotten one. I don't think that it's Ilya's time. I think Ilya needs to beat one of those guys and then fight for a title. That's just my opinion, though.
I don't know. That boy Patty's been on a storm lately.
Ilya versus Patty, do that, and then the winner gets a title fight. They have beef. They have a lot of beef going back years.
No, but the build-up would be better if Ilya was to win the belt.
If it was for a title,
Oliveira.
Yeah. I agree.
And then Patty beats Gaethje in a reasonable fashion. Way he beats Chandler. The hype for that fight would be amazing.
I agree. I think that's what the UFC wants. If the UFC strips Islam Makhachev because he won't fight Ilya in International Fight Week, but they won't strip John Jones for not fighting Tom Aspinall.
Completely different.
No, it's not. It's not in any way completely different. It is completely different, actually, because Tom Aspinall is actually the interim champ and deserves a title fight. That's how it's different.
He doesn't deserve a title fight. He could fight.
We're moving on. Tom Aspinall is way more deserving than Ilia Topuria of a title fight. And if they're not going to strip Jones, then they can't strip Islam. It's that simple.
Can't strip Jones.
Yeah, then don't strip Islam. If you're not going to strip Jones, then don't strip Islam. You can't have it both ways. You can't. All right. It is time for our predictions for next week's card. Do you want to just do the whole main card?
Let's do the whole main card.
6 fights on the main card.
Let's do the whole main card.
All right, starting off, our first fight of the main card is Jeremy Stephens versus Mason Jones. Jeremy Stephens in his return fight to the UFC. He's had a couple of bare-knuckle boxing fights in the meantime, and now he is back in the UFC. The man with the most losses in UFC history.
Jeremy Stephens?
Jeremy Stephens is the man with the most losses in UFC history.
Who's he fighting?
Mason Jones, 15-2-0. So, I don't know much about Mason Jones. I do know a little bit about Jeremy Stephens. 3, 2, 1.
I got Michael Jordan.
I've got I can't even think of a funny name that would be for JS. I don't know. Jeremy Stephens is funny enough. Who the fuck is that guy? All right.
Jerry Seinfeld.
Yeah. Next up, we've got Cameron Smotherman versus Siri Sidi. I think that's how you pronounce his name. This is a bantamweight fight. Cameron is 12-4, and Shirhi is 11-2. So, ooh, crap. All right.
What are the initials?
CS and SS. SS is Siri, and then Cameron Smotherman is CS. All right, 3, 2, 1. We both went with CD. All right. All right, next up, we've got Montel Jackson versus Daniel Marcos. Montel Jackson is 14-2, and Daniel Marcos is 17-0. Notable win. I know Daniel Marcos just beat my boy Adrian Yanez, sadly. And Montel Jackson has, I think he knocked someone out in his last fight. I don't exactly remember who it was. It might have been Basharat. Yeah, it was. No, it was. That fight was canceled. He was supposed to fight Basharat, but he didn't end up fighting him. He knocked out Damon Blackshear, who also got a good victory last week. All right, so we've got Montel Jackson 14-2, or we've got Daniel Marcos 17-0. So either MJ or DM. All right. 3, 2, 1. I went with Daniel Marcos. We both went with Daniel Marcos. Undefeated records have not been doing very good this year in the UFC, but I'm still going to go with them. All right.
He hasn't given me a reason to prove why he would lose.
Fair enough. His last fight wasn't that great. I don't think his performance in his last fight was that great. But 17-0 is still a really good record, and I've seen Montel Jackson fight, and I don't think he's a world beater in any way. But next up, we've got Santiago Ponzinibbio, 31-8, versus Daniel D-Rod Rodriguez, 18-5. Oh, man. These are two guys that are basically right outside of the top 15. Pretty much. These guys are the gatekeepers of the top 15. Finally get to fight each other. So either SP or DR. Okay, 3, 2, 1. All right, he went with D-Rod. I went with Santiago Ponzinibbio. All right. Co-main event time. The one I'm most excited for. Reiner de Ritter versus Bo freaking Nickel. You guys might not like Bo Nickel. I like Bo Nickel. You guys might not think he's entertaining. I don't think he's the most entertaining guy, but that's my guy. So Reiner de Ritter versus Bo Nickel. Do you need records or anything? All right. 3, 2, 1. Bo Nickel. Yeah, we both went with Bo Nickel. I think that Reiner de Ritter is gonna show submission attempts that Bo is not used to. I think there's gonna be a lot of trying to grab for leg locks. He might get a choke eventually, but I think that Bo Nickel dominates. I've seen Reiner de Ritter grapple. He's not the best grappler. He's got submissions, but he lacks dominance on the ground. Yeah, he's not able to control people. So I think that Bo Nickel is going to control him on the ground, and he needs to avoid leg locks. If he gets caught in a leg lock, he's fucked. Other than that, I think that he's going to dominate on the ground.
I think that this fight specifically with Bo Nickel, I think that, I've seen a couple training videos. I'm hoping that he works on his striking. I think we're going to see a better striking performance from Bo Nickel all around because he's been hearing the critics. I've seen a couple of his interviews. I think now he's trying to sharpen up his game, and I think he's going to come out with something special.
I think that he is going to stick to striking for the most part.
Yeah.
Because in the last fight, he fought Paul Craig. He didn't even shoot. He didn't want any of that smoke on the ground. He knew that the submission game that was presented to him, he didn't want to engage with the submission, so he fought on the feet, and he won on the feet. People still don't give him credit. Like, Paul Craig's not that good on the feet. Yeah, I get it. But Bo Nickel beat him on the feet, which means that Bo Nickel is better than Paul Craig on the feet. Not saying much, but I mean, at least you know that he's not the worst striking grappler out there, Yeah. Like, there are people that are worse at grappling and striking than him that are in the UFC, which means that Bo deserves to be in the UFC. Yeah. So, will this pose a threat? Probably. Do I think that he's going to lose? No. I think that he's going to get threatened with submission attempts, but he's still going to pull out the win. Mm-hmm. Now, main event time. We've got Corey the Sandman Sandhagen versus Davison, the God of War, Figueiredo.
I like that nickname.
Yeah. Well, it's Dos de Queiroz. I don't know how to pronounce it in Portuguese, but it's said in Portuguese, but it's translated to the God of War. One of the sickest names ever. I think it's even cooler pronounced in Portuguese. Sadly, I'm not good at pronouncing Portuguese language, but it is a cool, very cool name. Yeah, every time I hear it, I'm like, oh, that's sick. Does that translate to his fighting ability? Yes. He likes war. He's the war guy. Figueiredo's coming off of a loss to Petr Yan. Sandhagen, I think, is coming off of a victory. No, he's coming off of the loss to Umar in his last fight. So both of them are coming off of losses to the number 1 and 2 guy in the division. 2 and 3, I guess, because O'Malley's probably number 1. So yeah, these are basically number 4 and 5 in the division getting to fight each other. Corey Sandhagen is the heavy favorite, I'm hearing. Heavy favorite. Like, we're talking, like, I think it was, like, minus 300 favorite, which is crazy. Because Davison Figueiredo has proven he's really good. So, I don't know. 3, 2, 1. Corey Sandhagen. You've got Davison Figueiredo. All right. At least we have enough picks that are different, that we don't have to go into any deeper predictions. We could stick with that for the UFC, and then we can move into boxing. But what do you think is going to happen in this fight?
I think
Figueiredo versus Sandhagen.
I see Sandhagen piecing up Figueiredo Figueiredo takes him to the ground. Is it a 5-round fight?
It is.
I see things starting to mix up within the first 2 rounds. Third round's kind of stale, and then the last 2 rounds, depending on how that third round goes, if he keeps going, those last 2 rounds are going to be the deciding factor of who is the better man and who needs to move forward. Because I think they're right now kind of at the same pace right now in terms of where they are and how they're moving throughout the division.
They win a lot, but they always lose the crucial one.
Yeah.
You know, like they beat everyone, but then right before they're about to get a title fight, they lose that fight and they're set back again, and they have to work their way back up again. This keeps happening. So I think that Corey's better. I don't think he's negative 300 better, but I think that Corey's going to get him. I think that he's going to knock him out. Probably a knee or something crazy. Figueiredo's a real hard man to knock out, but I think that Corey's the guy to crack that chin. We can now move into the boxing. You can read off what we are going to be predicting for boxing. Let's stick to just like the biggest stuff. We don't need to do a guy that's 1-0 and versus a guy that's 3-0. You know, like we don't have to do those guys.
No, there's only 3 fights.
Only 3 fights.
It's only 3 fights.
Okay, well, read them off and we will predict for those.
Who is? Okay, so we have. Well, there's 4 fights, but there's only 3 that matters.
All right, that's fine. We'll do those 3.
Teofimo Lopez versus Arnold Barboza.
What are their records? Do you have that information in front of you?
Teofimo Lopez is 21-1. Arnold Barboza is 32-0.
What were their initials?
TF and AB.
All right. 3, 2, 1. I've got Barboza.
I'm gonna go with Teofimo Lopez.
Okay, here we go. Already different on picks. So that's what I'm talking about. This is gonna be together with the UFC, right? Like we're gonna do all in one.
Yeah.
Like the predictions will count for both. We'll have to just count up the boxing and then wait till the next day and then count up the rest for UFC. Okay. What was the guy I said again?
Arnold Barboza.
Got it. Okay. Next up,
Devin Haney versus Jose Ramirez. Devin Haney is 31-1.
yeah,
But
yeah,
31-0.
Yeah.
And then Jose Ramirez 29-2.
All right. I really hope I'm wrong about this prediction. 3, 2, 1. I've got Devin Haney. I hope I'm wrong. I'm not a big Devin Haney fan, but
especially after that whole
still
have my
dude, you lost. just accept it. You have a loss.
And then we have the final fight. Ryan Garcia 24-1
main eventing where he should be
versus Rolly Romero 16-2. Both fighters lost to Tank by knockout.
16-2 fighting fucking Ryan Garcia. I don't know. That seems like such a tomato can record. That seems like a prop up fight.
Who, Rolly Romero?
Yeah.
No. He actually has some pretty good fights.
He's good?
Yeah, he's beaten some undefeated guys, a lot of champions.
I'm still going with Ryan Garcia. Come on, man. I don't even come on. 3, 2, 1. Ryan Garcia. All right. Yeah, man. Are these matchups that are gonna get like are they gonna be fighting like tournament style?
Well, no, they're all fighting, and then if these two win, if Ryan Garcia and Devin Haney wins, they fight again, and then Teofimo Lopez fights whoever wins that fight.
Makes sense.
But they're fighting so that they can build up for their rematch.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it. All right. And then, but if Barboza beats Lopez, then he'd get the title fight against the winner? Okay.
Yeah, he just gets the title.
So it's kind of a tournament style. Yeah. That's pretty cool. I think the UFC should do more stuff like that. I remember that last year there was a lot of hype around like a BMF tournament where it was like going to be like Gaethje versus Hooker and Poirier versus Max and Oliveira versus Chandler, and then like the winners will all fight each other, and then
That's
the
all
winner.
the whole lightweight division.
Yeah, it's literally just a lightweight tournament at that point. But you know,
Might as well just put the belt on the line.
yeah. But I think that's a cool concept to do for boxing. It changes it up a little bit from being. I don't even know what the structure of title fights is in boxing. Like, I get that there are contenders just like the UFC, but if you're the number one contender for the WBC title, does that mean you're also the number one contender for the WBO title, or is there another number one contender in that division for the WBO title? And then at that point, what does being number one contender even mean?
I mean, here's the best way I could put it. Okay, so Canelo Alvarez. Canelo Alvarez has moved up divisions. He's fought at the only person chasing Canelo more than anybody is Terrence Crawford, who's moved up the division, become undisputed in both weight classes to fight him, and then David Benavidez. David Benavidez has won every interim title with that belt that has something to do with Canelo, and Canelo has ducked every single one of those fights. You
mean just like John Jones is ducking Tom Aspinall and all the good heavyweights, and he only wants to fight old timers or guys that can't grapple, just like that? You mean?
If you put it that way, then yes.
Yeah, exactly. John Jones only wants to fight guys that are over the age of 40 or have zero grappling credentials. That a fair statement to make, or no?
But Canelo's fighting younger guys. He's just fighting guys who no one's ever heard of.
Yeah. And you want John Jones to fight Dontel Mays. So, there you go.
I know Dontel Mays.
I know Dontel Mays. I know Dontel Mays because he was in the top 15 for a hop, skip, and a jump. Because there's no other heavyweights in the division. A dude that's like 15-7 was in the top 15 at heavyweight. That's how I know Dontel Mays. So it's not great. Not great publicity being known for that. But all right, I think that's it for the show. I'm not feeling great, so I don't want to go any longer. I think that next week I'll hopefully feel better. I might be leaving for vacation, though, next week, so I don't know if we're going to be able to do the podcast. If not, 2 weeks from now, we will be reviewing Sandhagen versus Davis and Figueiredo. We will also review... No, I will be here next week because I will be leaving after the Bilal versus JDM fight. Next week, we are going to predict for Bilal versus JDM and review Sandhagen versus Figueiredo. And then we won't have a review video out for Bilal versus JDM the week after. That'll have to wait 2 weeks for the review of UFC 315. We will have a live reaction coming out for UFC 315, though. Okay. Because I will be here. If you would like to come and watch, then feel free. There will be a live reaction. The breakdown video will come a week later. And then we will also do predictions for the next coming event on that episode. So expect stuff to stay the same for the next week, and then there'll be some off time the week after. But thank you guys for watching the Hardcore and the Casual podcast. As always, the last week's event was fun. Hopefully this one is too. It's a stacked card. Thank you, Elijah, for coming. If you'd like to come watch this weekend, I'll be watching it with everyone. So if you want to come and watch Sandhagen and Bo Nickel and everyone, feel free to come. Thank you, Elijah, for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
Thank everyone at home for joining me and Elijah. And this has been the Hardcore and the Casual podcast. I've been your host, Justin, and peace out.
MMA fans, if you want more content like this, please click right here. Go under playlists and check out all the variety we have to offer. And if you want a suggestion on where to start, click on this video right here. If you want to be up to date or communicate with us on any of our social media platforms, check out That Casual HQ. And we will see you all soon. Stay casual.